Hello and welcome. I'm your host, the Hawaiian Shirt Professor. And in this example, I want to walk you through how to create a double stroke effect on type. All the while, and this is crucial, maintaining a clean type throughout. The whole purpose is that I want to make sure that letters of the typeface are never retouched by the stroke. So let's go in to a new document and let's get started. From here, I'm going to type a simple phrase. I'm going to use the T for type and say Acme Travel Company. Now in this area, I'll make it a little bit bigger. And in theory, all I'd have to do is add a stroke to start out with and then double it up. Let's add a basic stroke and watch what happens. I'm going to say 2 points. As you can tell, the type got thicker because I've added a black stroke to a black typeface. So we can see the difference. Let's use a red and let's zoom in. Now if we look at the C and the O, if you can notice when I turn on and off the stroke, let's go back to 0. Notice the thickness of the type, especially on the C or the O or anywhere else in these letters that I have up on the screen. If I add the stroke back in, you'll notice that the type gets essentially eroded from the stroke. And that's because the align stroke property in your stroke window. And if you're ever wondering where I got the stroke window from, you can find that in Window and Stroke. Now it does allow you to have a function key. I'm using a 2016 MacBook Pro that essentially did away with the function keys, so thereby I can even use this if I tried. All right, back to the stroke window. I'll make sure I selected the stroke properly. The align stroke area is the key in this situation. If I say align stroke to center, which it is by default, the type centers to the edge of the type, going halfway in and halfway out. What I want to do is I want to push the stroke outside of the type. So I'm going to go to outline stroke or align stroke to outside. And when I click on it, it kind of looks like it might have worked for a second because it kind of shows the outline over here. But if you click on your type, it didn't actually work. That's because you can only align a stroke to type using center. So what I have to do is I'm going to use another technique, change this type to a path, and then I can apply the stroke to the outside. So for this part, I have to turn off the stroke. Say 0, it knocks it out, and I'm back to square one. What I want to do is I want to change this type from type to a path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an outline stroke effect. Now this shortcut key is Command Shift O. And what that shortcut key does, Command Shift O, not 0, but O, will turn my type from type. If we can look at it now, so if I hold the Command key down, where is it? There's my keys. The Command key would go back and forth between your transform and the actual paths. And now you'll note that you have points on the edge of the type. Now also be aware, I cannot edit my type once I've done this. But if you're working with, let's say, a logo or a different word type, I'm not going to change the title of this company because Acme Travel Company is where I want it to go. So let's now reapply the stroke to this company name. If I zoom in and I say wait 2, once again, we're back to where we started. That red stroke went to the center of the type. But now, if I can say outside, check it out. The type is preserved and the stroke went to the outside. Since I am going to put a double stroke around this, I am going to limit this to 1 point. And now I have that red right around the type. Now, what I have to do is I have to put a double stroke around this design. So I'm going to duplicate the travel company name. I can hold the Option key down and click and drag. So now what I do is, just for display purposes, I'm going to use a green. You can really see this stroke come out. And since this was 1 point, I'm going to say 2 points down here. And I'm going to change the stroke to a green. So now I have 2 strokes. The last, or actually second to last step I have to do is align these 2 typefaces so that they're on top of each other. I'm going to click and drag and select both typefaces. And in Adobe Illustrator CC 2017.x, it'll come up on the top and give me my align to horizontally align to the left, and use the second piece to vertically align to the top. Now, because the thicker stroke is on top, you're not going to see the red. So I'm going to select it and hit Command left bracket. That'll drop down my layers by 1 level. You can also go over to your layers, and layer 1 has different groups. But once again, I just find that Command left bracket will create that. And now once again, now I have this black, red, and green stroke, all while preserving the actual typeface. Thank you.